have a Cub Cadet RT65. I have an issue with the transmission. It will not come out of neutral. So as you can see here, this is pretty much needing repaired. So I'm going to take that off, get it out of the way. Now I'm going to take this steel pin out right here. Now I'll go ahead and take this off, get it out of the way. And we'll go ahead and take these screws here out. There's only 2 of them that hold this plate on. Now we'll just grab this, pull it out of the way. Okay, now we're going to take the guard off. There's a nut here, and there's 1, 2 screws, and it looks like there's a nut down here. And then we'll pull this off. Okay, now if you noticed, when I can, I go ahead and replace all my screws and my nuts if I can, just so that I don't have to keep them piled up in a bucket or something and have to look for them. This way I know exactly where they go. Now I'll go ahead and take this bracket off. There's a bolt right here, and there's a bolt down here. That way I can leave this pulley mounted to the motor. Okay, now I'll just move this out of the way. I should be able to get the belt out of the way. Okay, I got this back on here. My bolts put back in, but they're not tight. That way I don't lose this piece. I'll go ahead and take this bolt out and take this wheel off. Now I'll go ahead and take this nut right here off. That'll get rid of this pulley right here and the belt, and we'll take this spring right here off. Okay, now we got it off. We just take it and pull it out. You got this little rod right here. It'll come out. Then just go ahead and take the spring out. Remember, it goes right here. Only one place it can go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take this nut off. This bolt, this bolt. This plate should come off along with this, and I don't have to mess with any adjustment on here. Now remember, other people may do this differently. This is just how I'm doing it. Okay, now we can actually see through there. Now I'll go ahead and get this bracket out of the way. There's 2 bolts right here. Put the bolts back in there so I wouldn't lose them. I got this bracket right here. I'm going to go ahead and take it off also. There's a nut on the other side holding it on. Okay, it's out of the way. Now I don't have to worry about bending it. Okay, now I don't have any controls connected to the engine, so I'm going to go ahead and take the engine off. There is 4 bolts. As you can see right here, we have a nut on the left and a bolt coming up through the bottom on the right. On the front of the motor, we have 2 bolts coming up from the bottom, as you can see right there on the left and the right. Like I said, there's no cables going to the motor. I got it unbolted. Now I'm just going to lift it off and get it out of the way. I got these just sitting here out of the way so they don't flop everywhere. I've got to take this tiller cover off. Means I got to take some bolts off. Looks like I got to take 3 bolts here on this side and 3 bolts here on this side. You can see them right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover here off so I can try and get the tines off. Okay, now we'll go ahead and take the tines off. Should have a couple pins in them. Roll it over on the side, not going to hurt it. As you can see, we just got to take those clips and those pins out of each one of them and pull the tines off. We'll put it out of the way. That came off really easily. We'll do the other side the same way. While I got it turned over on the side, we'll go ahead and take these 3 bolts off and this bolt right here. And moving right along, I'll flip it over and take the other side off now. Okay, the other side and the other tiller came off just as easy as the first side, so I didn't want to bore you with all the details on it. I'm going to go ahead and take off these 4 bolts now and remove this handle and hopefully the whole shield. Cut the handle off. Now if the cover will come off. I'm going to take this bolt out. It's holding that small bracket on. Now I'm going to go to the other side. Now we'll go ahead and take out that bolt, and we will remove that whole yellow piece right there that holds on the back cover. Now we'll go ahead and take the wheels off of it. We'll go ahead and leave these nuts on there right here for now. Okay, we're going to start right here where the motor sits. We got 3 big bolts right there. We got a bunch of little bolts, and right by my magnetic ashtray I have a big nut. And then as we go on around, we have more small bolts. I just want to point out that there's actually 5 bolts over here that you have to use a wrench on both sides. It's these 2 right here. If you go on up, you got those 3 right there. They protrude to the other side with a bolt. I got all the bolts out. I'm ready to split the casing. Okay, here we are. We got it halfway split. We got a bunch of gears that fell out. It's not an easy task, but if you want to save you about $300–400 in labor, yeah, and you got the tools and the patience, yeah, it's not too bad. Just looks like I'm going to have to take that nut right there off because it is attached to that gear, and maybe that'll help me out. I don't mind telling you, this job is a pain in the ass. And if you look over here, I got more gears that fell out. Okay, a couple minutes later it fell apart. Here's the gears, they're all cleaned up. I checked everything. I do need to replace this jack shaft. It's on order. I've replaced the bearings in this gear that goes on the jack shaft because these bearings were actually gone. So I went ahead and ordered some more bearings for this gear here. It takes 2. This gear here takes 2. And this gear over here takes 1. I got the bearings in. I'm going to show you how easy it is to replace these bearings while you have your tiller apart and working on it. If the bearings look bad, you might as well go ahead and replace them. This here is the part number. Here's another number in case that one don't work. I'm going to go ahead and beat these bearings here out. I should be able to take this rod, since it's the same size. You could probably use an old socket or something like that, and I'm going to drive these both out the same side. There went one. I want the other one. And now it's nice and clean. We'll go ahead and install the other 2 bearings. I'm going to go ahead and spray this with PB Blaster. Now what I'm going to do is take the new bearing. I'm going to go right in there like that. And take. And all you need is a vise. You don't really need a press. Put a little pressure on it. Put the bearing in till it is flush. Hold on to the gear. And it needs to go in just a little bit more. Now it should be flush. I'm going to install the other ones on the other side. We'll do it the same way. Kind of just get it to fit in there like so. Turn it around. Oop. There we go. Do the same thing on this side. Line it up real good. Yeah, it's best to try not beat it in with a hammer because you might damage them. This is the best way, unless you got a press. But this works really well. And see, now that one went in flush. We don't have to do anything with that one because it looks pretty good.